Today we're going to be setting up designs to put on a cup. What I have here is just a random cup that I've taken off the internet. I've removed the background and sized it to the size that it says the cup is on the internet so that I can show you with my little handy ruler tool here how I measure the cup itself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure from the rim to where it starts turning. So that's 3 3/4 inches. We need to leave room for a lip, so we need at least a 1/2 inch. If we do a 1/2 inch, one on the top and one on the bottom to keep the image centered, then we have 2 3/4 inches. So the height of our image, we've got to make sure that it's hairline, the height of our image is going to be 2.75, or the max height of our image is going to be 2.75. Then when I have the cup in hand, I'll usually take the ruler and measure straight across the top, and the width of our image can be no larger than 4 inches. And that's how we measure to get the size of our image for our cup. So if you look at this, I'm going to outline it in red so that you can see it. I'm going to center it to the cup, and we'll bring it down. See how it's going past the edge? That's where you would have to start turning the cup to see the rest of the image, and you don't want to have to turn the cup to see the rest of the image. So now we've got the size that our image can be. We can remove this cup and put it over here. We're going to center our box. I'm going to grab my image and press P to center. We're going to rotate the whole thing 90 degrees. I'll make my image to where it for sure fits inside this box. So I won't go past the 4 inches, which is the part that's the wider part of the image. I'll stay, well, I can always do it this way also, do the lock, keep the lock ratio on and make it 4 inches that way. And then now I'll bring this line to match where my image is so that I'll be able to see it on the printer, on the machine. Remember that this portion of our cup was 3 3/4 inches wide, so we will make our printing width 3.75. So now that we have the printing width, our height will be the width of our image, which is 4, plus 0.01. So we're going to do 4.01. This makes sure that our image is within the engraving boundaries. And then you would just use this box when you send it to the printer to make sure that your lineup is correct. And once it is, then you go ahead and send it. If there were a logo here on the bottom, then what I do, let's say it's down here, is I match at the top. I go center of the logo, which would be right here. So if I have a dry erase marker, I will mark it there, and then I take my ruler and bring it up here. Our image is 4 inches wide, so then I would come over here to where it is 2 inches and put another mark right there. That gives me the ability to have a greater chance of getting center right off the bat. Okay, so now we have set up for a 30-ounce cup. The difference on a 20-ounce cup is that it is much longer, so we could actually have a taller image, but we're not going to center to the entire cup. We are going to want to center to a taller portion of the cup, but the upper half of the cup. And remember that we're going to keep it about a 1/2 inch down. So our size would be about 4 inches tall Our size would be about 4 inches tall. And then our width would be the width of the cup. So in this case, since we're doing a wide logo, it actually makes the logo smaller because the width is only 3.5 inches wide. If we were doing a taller logo, it actually makes the logo bigger because we have more height that we can cover. Right here, I have a bunch of little tricks for engraving on rounded surfaces. For a rounded cup, the way you want to decide the height is you'll place something flat against the cup, against the rounded edge. Look where it begins to gap. You don't want to get really larger than 2 to 3 millimeters of a gap. So once you reach the max of your gap, that's where you're going to mark it with a dry erase marker because you can remove it easily. And then you'll mark it again at the bottom, and then you can measure that, and that gives you the height of your image. The max width of the image is the same as the diameter of the part of the glass where you're going to be engraving on. Granted, this is a much smaller glass, it is not to size, but if it were, then our max width would be 1 1/2, 1 3/4, somewhere around there. If you're unable to make this cup fit on the rotator, then the width will be figured out the same exact way as you did the height for the rounded surface. And there you have how to set up to engrave on a cup.